There are places in Japan you're not allowed to enter. Not because of fences, laws, or private property, but because people believe you might never come back. They call them Kinsokuchi, forbidden grounds. Not just haunted or cursed, but sacred. Places so powerful, so dangerous, that even priests fear to step inside. But here's the twist. These so-called sacred sites often line up with deadly geological features. Volcanoes, toxic gases, and magnetic fields. Were the old Japanese just superstitious? Or did they know something we've forgotten? In this video, we explore the hidden wisdom behind Japan's most mysterious no-go zones, how ancient beliefs and modern science collide, and why some places are still forbidden for a reason. Let's begin with one question. Why are some places in Japan still strictly off-limits? Section 1. Why are some places in Japan strictly off-limits? Have you ever heard of a place you're not even allowed to enter? Not because it's dangerous in the usual sense, not because of fences or private property, but because people believe it's sacred, or cursed, or simply not meant for human presence. In Japan, such places are known as Kinsokuchi. The word means forbidden ground, but it doesn't just mean keep out. It means this place belongs to something beyond us. Mountains, forests, caves, and even entire islands. Places so deeply tied to gods or spirits. People would rather stay away than risk the unknown. You won't see warning signs or armed guards. Just silence, stillness, and a strange feeling deep in your chest. Why do these places exist? Why would a peaceful country like Japan deliberately keep people out of certain areas? Is it because of ancient religion? Or local superstition? Or is there something more? You see, in Western countries, forbidden zones are often military or toxic. But in Japan, they're spiritual, untouchable, sacred. Could this difference reveal something about how each culture views power, danger, and the divine? Let's explore what lies behind these silent boundaries and ask, what are we really being protected from? Section 2. The meaning of Kinsokuchi, a sacred taboo. What does Kinsokuchi really mean? It's often translated as forbidden ground, but that doesn't capture the full depth of the idea. In Japanese culture, not everything forbidden is bad. Sometimes, it's forbidden because it's sacred, too powerful, too pure, too dangerous for ordinary people to touch. A Kinsokuchi is not simply a restricted zone. It's a spiritual boundary. A place reserved for gods, spirits, or the dead. No fences, no signs, just tradition, and an unspoken warning. You are not meant to be here. Some of these places are marked by stone pillars or ropes. Others are hidden deep in mountains, known only to monks or elders in the village. People don't enter, not out of fear, but out of respect, or something deeper, an instinct that says, leave it alone. In the West, a forbidden area is often explained with logic. It's dangerous, it's private, it's illegal. But in Japan, it's often left unexplained. Because it just is. This silence is part of the message. A cultural agreement that not all things must be seen, touched, or understood. Could it be that by avoiding certain places, the Japanese have actually protected something sacred? Section 3. When the gods said don't look, Japan's hidden theology. What happens when you look at a god? In many Western traditions, seeing God is the highest form of revelation. It means truth, clarity, connection with the divine. But in Japan, it's the opposite. God is not meant to be seen, not meant to be touched, not even meant to be spoken of directly. Why? Because the divine is not a thing to grasp. It's something to feel, to sense, to approach quietly and from a distance. In Shinto, the native spirituality of Japan, gods are everywhere. In trees, rocks, rivers, mountains. They don't live in heaven. They live in this world. But they remain hidden. They are not always kind, not always forgiving. They are powerful, wild, and untamed. To see them directly would be too much, too pure, too overwhelming. It could cause sickness, disaster, even death. That's why sacred rituals often involve veils, curtains, or darkness. Not to hide the gods out of shame, but out of reverence. The less we see, the more we feel. That's the paradox. So when Japan marks a place as sacred, it's not an invitation to look closer. It's a gentle way of saying, don't look, don't touch, just bow. Section 4 Power Spots versus Forbidden Zones. The big misunderstanding. Have you heard of Japan's power spots? Beautiful waterfalls, ancient trees, famous shrines. People go there to charge their energy, to feel better, to make a wish, to take a selfie. It's spiritual tourism with a touch of magic. But here's the problem. True sacred places in Japan were never meant to be visited. In fact, they were often places you should never go, not because they were cursed, but because they were too pure, too holy, too dangerous for human presence. But today, if a place is beautiful and feels special, we label it a power spot. We post it on Instagram. We recommend it in travel blogs. Somewhere along the way, we changed the meaning of sacred. It became something convenient, user-friendly, photo-ready. But think about this. If a place truly holds power, should we be running toward it or backing away? Sacred does not always mean safe, and powerful does not always mean good. The places once feared now become attractions. But maybe the real power was never meant to be seen. And maybe what we call power today is just a reflection of our own desire to consume. Section 5 Are these places haunted? Or just deadly? Are forbidden places haunted? Or just dangerous? That's the question. Many Kinsokuchi in Japan are surrounded by ghost stories, spirits that scream in the forest, curses that follow those who enter, strange disappearances, sudden deaths. Sounds like horror movie stuff, right? But what if there's another explanation? What if those screams weren't ghosts, but echoes in a deep, empty canyon? What if people vanished because the terrain was impossible to navigate? Because they lost their way in dense fog or lava rock? What if they died, not from a curse, but from sulfur gas, low oxygen, or poisonous air rising from the earth? Places like these exist in Japan, and people still avoid them, not because they believe in spirits, but because someone once died there, and maybe someone else will. These are not myths, they're warnings. But when science arrived, we labeled them with numbers: toxic gas levels, air pressure, elevation. We forgot the stories and the fear, but the result is the same. Deadly is still deadly, even if you change the words. So maybe what people used to call a curse was just an early warning system. Section 6 Sulfur, Colorado, and magnetic anomalies. Nature's invisible traps. Have you ever entered a forest and suddenly felt dizzy? No spirits, no ghosts, just the air itself. In Japan, many forbidden places sit on volcanic soil. They look peaceful, but below the surface, something deadly is waiting. Sulfur gas, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, invisible, odorless, and often fatal. Some valleys trap gas like a bowl. You step in, and your body just collapses. No warning, no sound, no chance to escape. Magnetic anomalies also occur. Compasses fail, electronics die, even birds avoid the area. Now ask yourself this: if ancient people didn't have detectors, how did they know? Why did they say, "Don't go there"? Why did they build shrines, tie sacred ropes, and whisper warnings? Was it fear, superstition, or observation? Could it be that what we now call science was once just common sense, wrapped in the language of myth? In the West, danger is explained with data. In Japan, danger is wrapped in silence, ritual, and respect. So here's the question for you: which one protects people better? Section 7 How ancient people knew without science. No machines, no sensors, no satellites, yet somehow, ancient people knew where not to go. They didn't measure gas levels. They didn't use compasses, but they watched, they listened, and they remembered. If birds avoided a valley, they noticed. If animals died in one spot, they told their children. If someone went missing in the forest, they warned the village. They passed down stories, not just for belief, but for survival. Over generations, those warnings became rituals. Those rituals became legends, and those legends became taboos. Eventually, people no longer asked why. They just said, that place is sacred, and no one went near it. It wasn't about fear, it was about pattern. They saw the signs. They trusted their instincts. They may not have had science, but they had something we often ignore today: respect for the unknown. Maybe they couldn't explain danger, but they could feel it. Maybe they didn't understand nature, but they didn't try to conquer it either. And maybe they were wiser for it. Section 8: Myth as survival, faith as early warning system. What if myth was never just a story? What if faith wasn't weakness, but strategy? In ancient Japan, people didn't separate nature from danger. A mountain wasn't just beautiful, it could kill you. A river could heal or drown. So they turned danger into divinity. They gave it a name, a ritual, a god. Don't go near that mountain. Why? Because a god lives there. Simple, memorable, effective. Instead of warning people with science, they used story. Instead of numbers, they used fear, respect, wonder, and it worked. People stayed away. Lives were saved. Faith wasn't just belief, it was infrastructure, a cultural safety net, a system passed down in song, dance, and sacred space. We often laugh at ancient stories today. We call them superstitions, but every myth hides a message, and every ritual has a reason. So the next time you hear a legend, don't ask if it's true. Ask what it was trying to protect. Maybe it wasn't a fairy tale. Maybe it was survival. Section 9: Modern man lost respect. Why we ignore the warnings. We take pictures, we post, we hashtag, we walk where no one used to walk, and we wonder why the silence is gone. In today's world, even sacred places get listed on travel sites. Even forbidden zones are pinned on Google Maps. We chase hidden gems, not knowing why they were hidden. We step into sacred places without asking who they were sacred to. We call it adventure. We call it curiosity. But sometimes, it's just ignorance. Old warnings are seen as myths. Old taboos are laughed at. But the danger hasn't disappeared. Only our respect has. We dig up trails that were never meant to be walked. We remove ropes that once marked danger. We turn shrines into backdrops, and silence into content. In the name of experience, we cross lines we don't even see. So ask yourself, do we really want to understand these places? Or just consume them? In the past, people whispered at the edge of sacred ground. Today, we shout and livestream from it. What changed? Not the place, us. And maybe the greatest danger now is not the land itself, but our inability to listen. Section 10: Don't just visit, understand. The real power lies in respect. We've explored Japan's forbidden places, not just to see them, but to understand what they mean. These places aren't tourist spots. They're not bucket list items. They're reminders. Reminders of what we used to fear, of what we once respected, of how close life and death used to be. A sacred place is not powerful because of energy, or magic, or spiritual vibrations. It's powerful because people decided to protect it. By staying away, by keeping silence, by bowing instead of conquering. And maybe that's what sacred truly means. Not a place we visit, but a place we leave untouched. Not something we take, but something we give space to. Respect, distance, silence. The world doesn't need more footprints. It needs more pauses, more listening, more humility. So next time you stand before a quiet, hidden place, don't rush to photograph it. Don't ask, what can I get from this? Instead, ask, what can I leave behind? Because maybe the greatest offering is respect. This is just one example of Japan's unique way of thinking. Do people in your country do the same, or is it completely different? Drop your thoughts below. I read every comment. And if you like this, subscribe for a new video every day. See you tomorrow at the same time.